Now it's time for a business spotlight. This is the Adelaide Project.
Hello and welcome to the Adelaide Project Business Spotlight, brought to you by podcastcity.com.au if you are looking for a way to engage your audience with your amazing content. Then you need to talk to them about producing, recording, editing, videoing and distributing your very own podcast. Just go to podcastcity.com.au. I'm Ron Fiedler and I would like to welcome into the studio today someone who is on a mission to see NLP coaching and communication skills in every household and business. She helps people understand themselves, their thinking, their emotions, and how to communicate effectively so that they can create the life and business they want to have. She teaches people to empower themselves through coaching and certification training programs and seminars, as well as one-to-one coaching. My guest has been nominated for the SA Women in Business Awards and twice won results in Business Freedom Awards. I would like to welcome to the podcast the founder of Toni Everard Coaching, Toni Everard. Toni, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Ron. It's great to be here.
Toni, it is fantastic to meet you. When I first spoke to you the other day, you were so passionate about being in the business of empowering people to succeed in their business and lives. Please let our listeners know more about what you do and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're spot on there, Ron. I am super passionate about what I do. And I think that, people have so much conditioning and fear and doubts about what they can truly achieve, that it really holds people back. And I grew up with, my dad was in business and I saw him go through his struggles in business and his dad was in business. So I guess I always had a bit of a drive for business and, doing something that makes a difference, something that you're passionate about. And I know that every business has people behind it. It's the people that make the business work. And your business is only ever as successful as your own mindset and your ability to relate to yourself and others and communicate. So I'm really passionate about helping people to become empowered in understanding themselves and how they can get the best out of their life and their business.
So are you saying, Toni, that we need to change our mindset to be successful in business, to be that go-to person, the authority figure? If we have a mindset that is not, well, I wouldn't say correct, but not driven, we won't succeed.
Yeah, look, it all comes down to identity. So you won't consistently outperform your identity. So how you see yourself and how you think about yourself all comes down to your personal values and your beliefs and your previous experiences and, the emotions and things that you have from those experiences. And so if you want to create something different in your life, you have to become the person who does the things, who has that outcome. So it's very much around when we shift our identity into who we want to be, that matches what we need to do, then we'll have what it is that we want to have. And that sounds easier said than done. And so that's why it's really important that people really get that understanding, because as humans, we don't get born with a user manual of how to, understand ourselves, really. And we're all just being raised by generations of people doing the best that they can. And really, there is the knowledge out there. That's the thing. There is the knowledge out there that can help people overcome anxiety and depression and self-doubt and really help them create the life that they want to live. And so I think, the more people that have access to this knowledge, the better.
So when people come to you, they may be in a situation where they don't have what you just talked about, courage, and maybe they've got anxiety, they don't believe in themselves. How do you get them to their best? What do you do to get them to a level where they can overcome this sort of problems?
Yeah, great question. And, Ron, I've worked with people who have all kinds of different backgrounds and situations. Now I work a lot with people who are coaches or who work in the wellbeing space, and I help them both with their own personal development, but also teach them the skills to help their clients as well. But sometimes I'm working with multi-million-dollar company directors, and they're waking up in the middle of the night with anxiety attacks And that has a detrimental effect to their life and their business and those kinds of things. And so when I work with someone one-on-one, I can do a detailed personal history, which will uncover what is the root cause of these things. And then using NLP, and another modality I use is timeline therapy.
Yeah.
We can actually go to the root cause of those things and reframe them essentially, or find a different meaning that releases any of that old negative emotion or limiting beliefs that they're holding that causes things like anxiety and depression and, self-doubt and those kinds of things. And then they find that once you've got rid of the stuff from the past, you just need to get really focused on what it is you want to create in the future and then take action towards that. And, so it's really looking at, okay, where are you now? Where do you want to get to? And what's stopping you? And it's the stuff that's stopping you that we can clear out, and then it's just getting really focused and moving forward.
I suppose whether you're a company director or a salesperson or even just a mum or dad, you don't know maybe what is stopping you until you explore it. And that's where you come in. And you are a certified as a NLP master trainer. For our listeners that may not be familiar what NLP does, how does it help people in their lives?
NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. So the neuro is our nervous system, our mind. Linguistics is all of our communication, both verbal and nonverbal. And then the programming are the strategies essentially that we run. So we're consistently running, programs for the consistent results that we have in our life. And so NLP was born in the late 60s, early 70s by Richard Bandler and John Grinder, who went and modelled all of the people, psychologists, people in social science, hypnosis, all these places that were getting really good results with people. And they went, what is it that they're doing? And they turned those processes into step-by-step strategies, essentially. So it comes down to, from an NLP perspective, we look at that you are doing a problem. You don't have a problem.
Okay.
So when we look at how are you doing this, and we find the steps, we can then change those steps and create a strategy and the steps that will get you doing what it is that you want to do.
Wow. And you help people with this. It must be very humbling and very exciting when you see people change their lives.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. Ron, when I was at school and I thought about, what do you want to do when you grow up? All I knew was I thought I want to work in a bank. And I did that for about 10 years and that was great. But when I come across this work, it was really because I was looking for something to help myself.
Yeah.
So, I was in my late 30s. I had a preteen daughter. We were butting heads. My career wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't living a very healthy life. I used to drink too much wine to deal with my problems, all those kinds of things. And I thought, you know what? This isn't who I want to be when I grow up. And I'd got to the point where I knew I couldn't blame anybody else for where I was.
Yeah.
If I wanted change, it was going to come down to me. And so in that process, I was lucky enough to meet my first coach. She helped me change the way I thought, and she introduced me to this NLP. And so I really wanted to learn more. And that really set me on a path where I wanted to learn all about what NLP was. And I just kept having breakthrough after breakthrough for myself.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I can make this kind of change for myself, I want to be able to help other people. And as I started helping other people, I thought, I can never help as many people one-to-one as needs this work. So I decided to start teaching. And I love teaching so much that I took that to the highest level and I become a master trainer just last year, actually. That was a 5-year program that I completed. And
congratulations on that.
Thank you. So that essentially means that I can teach people to teach NLP.
So, Toni, you've lived this. This is not something that you've learned from a book. You've actually lived it and done the steps. That must be uncommon because there are so many coaches out there doing this sort of thing, but they don't live it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm really super passionate about, especially when people come and do a training with me. I always say, yes, you'll come and do NLP practitioner training, for example. You'll get 4 certifications and you can go out and help people. But the first place you're going to work on is yourself. So the trainings that I run are very hands-on. They're fully immersive. people have the experience of creating that change with themselves. And it's such a transformational training that I actually get people to take a photo of themselves on the first day.
Wow.
And then a photo of themselves on the 7th day.
Yeah.
And you can see the shifts in people's face, because when you're holding a lot of that old emotional baggage, it stores in your body.
Yeah.
And it affects like your skin muscle tone.
Wow.
And people, you can see the difference. It's incredible.
That is amazing that holding all that tension and all that stress and all that anxiety can do that. It really is. So, Toni, I want to find out more about the services you offer. Now, you offer specialised coaching and a breakthrough program. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So usually when people come to me and they say, they're interested in getting some help, most commonly I'll say, yes, I can do some one-on-one coaching with you, and I do breakthroughs. But if you want to completely change how you think and feel, come in the training room with me. You spend 7 days in the training room with me and I'll completely change how you think and feel, and you'll be able to apply that in all areas of your life. However, there are some times where people have something specific that they really want to deep dive on with me, and they want to work with me personally. And in that process, I go through by starting with looking, okay, where are you at now?
Yeah.
What's going on with you? How long has this been a problem? How is it affecting you? What is it you want to have instead? And then we go through like a 2-hour session of doing a detailed personal history that goes right down to what happened in childhood. Because generally the things that people carry the root cause of them starts in that 0 to 7 kind of age group.
Yes.
Which is when we're born, we're like little unconscious minds that we just absorb everything going on around us.
Yeah.
And so even if, sometimes people say, I had a really good childhood. And that might be true, but there could still be things that you misinterpreted. There could be still things that you picked up that were going on around you that caused you to perhaps suppress your identity a little bit, or caused you to create some kind of limiting belief about who you are and what you're capable of. So, we go back and we find these root causes, and then we use techniques such as timeline therapy, which is content-free. And this is why it is so powerful, because people don't have to talk over and over and over their problems. The beauty of this is both ways. So I know clients get to shift stuff that they don't want to talk about and they haven't been able to talk about to their counsellor or psychologist or anything else. They get to change those things. And it's also good as a therapist, because you don't need to hear all of the details of, what trauma and things people have gone through.
Yeah.
So that's a really powerful process. And it's one where when you start releasing things like anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, shame, depression, people feel it immediately.
Yeah.
Like it's like that. Okay, I feel different now. And then we look at any kind of limiting beliefs. There's other techniques. I also, because, a lot of coaching just focuses on conscious mind.
Yes.
Okay, so goal setting, conscious mind, reframing, and that will get you so far.
Yep.
We also need to work with the unconscious mind, because unconscious mind is where all learning, change and behaviour happens.
Yes.
So we need to be able to create, change at that level. But I also work with people with a higher conscious mind, because we are all spiritual beings.
Yes.
And it's when we want to really show up as our true selves and make a big difference in the world, we need to connect with that part of us that is much more than how we present in our day-to-day lives. And when people do that, they get a sense of just how much they are capable of and how magnificent they truly are. And you see amazing shifts in people, and it's such a rewarding thing to be able to do and know that not only have I helped this person in front of me, but it will affect how they are in their family, in their relationships, in their workplace, and it just has a big ripple effect.
Unbelievable. It must be so brave for someone to come and do this, because a lot of people, as you said, they tuck away, they hide, they conceal trauma in their lives or past experiences. And to come and do this, it must be an eye-opener. And I think at the end they must think to myself, I wish I did this so many years ago.
Yeah, literally that's exactly what they say. Why didn't I find this 30 years ago? I've worked with people from 10-year-olds to 80-year-olds and, everything in between. And it is, people are blown away by how much they can change and how easy. It's not easy as in, yes, sometimes there's a little bit of discomfort in that process, but it's easy as in you can get rid of something you've been holding on to for your whole life in 10 minutes, and so it's very fast and, it just, people just, they don't know how to describe it, they're just like, wow, this is incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It seems like that this is something that everyone should be doing. And as you said, you're on that mission to get this into people's lives. Now, you have courses. Can you tell us a little bit about those courses that you offer?
Yeah. I run a couple of different courses. One is a 3-day hypnosis training. So hypnosis is an amazing modality that has been around for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks and Egyptians were known to have sleeping temples where that people would come and they would get into a sleep state and they would get given suggestions for their health and healing and those kinds of things. And there's a huge history which I teach through 3-day hypnosis. Hypnosis is all self-hypnosis.
Yeah.
It's all about you being able to communicate with your own unconscious mind.
Oh, okay.
And the thing that people don't often understand is that everyone goes in and out of trance every day.
Yeah. I always say about that one driving to work, I say to myself, how did I get here?
Yes.
I've got here safely. I did all the right things, but how did I get here?
Yeah. Who was driving you?
Yeah.
It was your unconscious mind.
Yeah.
So, our unconscious mind does a lot of really helpful things for us. And so, when we think about, say, goal setting, for example, it's our conscious mind that's the goal setter. So it says, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
If we don't achieve those things, it's because our unconscious mind isn't on board, because the unconscious mind is the goal getter. And so we need to be able to communicate with our unconscious mind so that what it is we say we want to do, what we're going to do, we actually do, because we're aligned with our beliefs and our values and everything that happens at that level.
Yeah. Do you think that too many people are on autopilot, that they're not going into their conscious mind?
Well, one of the funny things is we often say when you teach people hypnosis, you're actually waking them up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a good saying.
Yeah. So most people are in a trance of their problem, of their life. This is how things are.
Yeah.
Nobody knows this better than I do. And they just tell them themselves the same story over and over and over again, and they're in a trance of that story. So learning how to communicate with your unconscious mind and understanding your language allows you to wake up from that trance and create a new trance, the trance of how you want to be, how you want to tell yourself, what you want to focus on and, talk about, all those kinds of things. So 3-day hypnosis training, we go right into learning how to communicate with the unconscious mind, and also we go through specific techniques of how you can help people lose weight, stop smoking, relaxation, performance enhancement. There is some pain control in there as well. That's always a bit of fun.
Well, yeah.
You can actually make someone's hand go completely numb so that they can't feel you twist their skin on the back of their hand. So that's always a really good convincer for people that something's happening. So that's a really great certification training. And then from there, there's the 7-day NLP practitioner training.
Yeah.
And so that's 4 certifications. So NLP practitioner, timeline therapy practitioner. There's a little bit of hypnosis in that training, and NLP coach. So it's a coaching certification.
Yeah.
And that's the foundational level. So, that's the level that I think everybody should know. And, at the end of that training, people are always saying, all parents should know this.
Yes.
All teachers should know this. They should teach this in high school. So it's really that foundational, how to be a human.
Yeah.
How to think, how to
act, how to treat people.
Yeah, absolutely. And understand yourself, understand other people. And then from there's the advanced level, which is master practitioner training.
Yes.
And that's a longer training. It goes over 2 weeks. And that's where we go more into the advanced techniques, but also more into health.
Right.
So, we look at how does disease form in the body,
okay,
for example.
Yeah.
And there's loads of research that has shown that when people have traumatic events in their background that they haven't been able to resolve, that those can lead to disease.
Wow.
And so we look at that. We look at chronic pain. So, for example, any chronic pain, especially through the back and neck, shoulders kind of area, that lasts longer than 6 to 8 weeks, will be emotional.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. And so this is why, I teach a lot of health and wellbeing practitioners this type of work, because when their clients present to them with a physiological issue,
Yes.
there's always some kind of mental and emotional issue behind that.
Right.
And so it helps them get that greater understanding and support their clients and help them motivate them to make different changes and things so that they can be well and feel good within themselves.
That's amazing. That's a great variety of courses that you've got there. How many people would be in the classes?
I run quite intimate training, so usually around sort of 8 to 10 people in a
that's
training.
good.
And the benefits of that is that I really like to know exactly why everyone's there
Yeah.
and make sure that they get a really deep understanding of the techniques that they learn and how they can apply it in their life or in their business.
Yes.
And we see some amazing transformations that happen
Yeah.
in the classroom. And, you know, like you were sort of saying before, on a regular basis, people just say to me, you know, Toni, thank you so much for teaching me this. It's changed my life. And I think, wow, like, you know, it's such an honor
Yeah.
to be able to play, you know, a little part of someone's journey
Yes.
and helping them move to where they want to be.
You know, I work with a fella called Paul Rouse who runs the Laughter Project, and he lives a life of joy and he lives it to his best. And this is what I think people really need to do. They need to start to look at how they can live to their best and bring joy and comfort to others as well, not just themselves. Toni, what sort of clients would you say are your ideal people to put into these classes? Who, if I was going to come to you, what sort of person can this help?
The thing that I love is helping people who want to help other people.
Great.
That is the crux of it. So mostly that will show up as nutritionists, naturopaths, massage therapists, teachers,
Yeah.
iridologists, you know, other sort of coaches, leaders. But also I really love working with business owners, you know, people who, yes, they run a business, but they're very invested in their staff. So, you know, one of my clients actually sends his staff to me if they're having personal issues. So he'll actually pay for them to come and have coaching with me.
Wow.
And, you know, that's such an incredible way to run a business.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's really knowing that you've got the power to make a positive impact on the world. And so I love working with those kinds of people. So, you know, having NLP and coaching skills improves your relationships, it improves your parenting, it improves your health, it improves, you know, how you relate to anyone else in your business, your community, and how you feel about yourself. So, you know, when we look at, Tony Robbins talks about this, you know, the two most important human needs are growth and contribution. So when you're growing more as an individual, you have more to contribute to others. And, you know, I think that's what we're here for is, as humanity, right, is to grow and contribute and evolve. And, you know, by doing that for ourselves and helping others, we're all connected. We're all helping the same cause.
Oh, definitely. And I think how great to invest in your staff like that. Not many companies or organisations think about their staff in this matter. But as you said, if they've got problems and they can sort it out, that means that they're going to be more productive. So the little amount that you've paid to come along and see you is actually going to benefit the company maybe thousands of dollars. But not only that, the morale, the bringing better people into the organisation.
Yeah. You know, this same company is sent through general manager as well to do training with me. And he said it's just been such an incredible asset to their business in the way that he's able to hear what the staff are saying, ask the questions that resolve things so much quicker.
Yes.
And so it all comes down to that. How do we communicate? How do we relate to each other? How good are we at hearing what someone else is saying to uncover what do they really need? And, you know, I think there's a lot of people now that are a lot more forward thinking and they're results focused and they care about people. And so, you know, these are skills that are a real asset to any company.
Definitely, and I'll say to every listener out there, you need to talk to Toni about this because it's going to benefit yourself and your business and your staff. Toni, you've spoken a lot and you touched on these great skills you got that you can pass on to people who want to help other people. But what do you think that you offer? What skills do you offer that will help your clients?
Great question. Like we were saying at the start, Ron, I got into this because I really wanted to work on myself.
Yeah.
And so, you know, That was now over 7 years ago. And so over that time, I've had a lot of experience through my own development. So I know what that's really like, but I've worked a lot in the space of working with other coaches, health practitioners, men in business, especially. A lot of men in business suffer with anxiety and depression and those kinds of things.
Yes.
And it's something that I have continued to study and embody at a really high level. So, for example, I've, as we were saying before, I've been certified as an NLP master trainer. That only comes from spending a lot of time training and studying, and I've worked with people from all over the world.
Yeah.
And in trainings from all kinds of different backgrounds and coached and trained people. So, the experience that I have is quite broad.
Yeah, definitely. And I think living it is the best experience you can have. And you've done that, Toni.
Yeah.
You've done that.
And I think as well, it's the holistic sort of approach that I have as well. So, we really got to look at, we've got our physical body that we've got to look after. We've got an emotional body. We've got a mental body. We've got a spiritual body. And it's really knowing that any given time we need to be addressing all of those things together to really be the best versions of ourselves. And so I think, that's when people come to me, often they'll say something like, I didn't really know exactly what it was that you do, but I just knew I had to work with you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's because when you've done a lot of transformation within yourself and with others, and you're really confident about the ability for people to transform, other people can feel that.
Yeah, they definitely can. And that's the thing I notice with people when, you haven't seen them for a while and then you reconnect and you think, wow, this is not the person that I used to know. This person has done something to make their life better, to make their situation better. And I think that is so important. So important.
You can see it in the way they look, the way that they speak, the way that they hold themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it can go the other way as well. But we don't want that to happen. So, Toni, if the listeners would like to find out more about how you can help them, how you can help them change their lives and the people around them, how can they contact you?
I'm very easy to find, Ron. You'll find me on pretty much every platform by my name, Toni Everard. My website is tonieverard.com.au. If you go to my website, you'll find ways that you can subscribe to an email and you can get regular emails from me. You can reach out and contact with me and arrange a call. And you can certainly check out on YouTube. I've got some meditations as well that I've
had a look at them and they're great. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm also on Insight Timer now as a meditation teacher there.
Great.
So if you look up Toni Everard, you'll find me.
It's fantastic.
All over the place.
And we will put those links onto Podcast City's social media pages. So if anyone wants to grab them, they can. Look, Toni, thank you so much for coming into the Adelaide Project Business Spotlight. I want to have you on again sometime because I love talking about this sort of stuff. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Ron. It's been an absolute pleasure and I'd love to come back.
Today on the Adelaide Project Business Spotlight, we have been speaking with master coach, mentor and international accredited trainer Toni Everard from Toni Everard Coaching. This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast City. If you'd like more information about starting your own podcast, from planning your podcast, recording, editing and distributing your podcast to the world, simply go to podcastcity.com.au. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ron Fiedler. Bye for now.